The Appalachian Mountains stretch like a sleeping beast across the eastern United States. Beneath their beauty lies something darker. These mountains are ancient, older than bones, older than time, and within their valleys and ridges, whispers persist. Whispers of things lost, of things not quite human. This isn't folklore. These are encounters. These are warnings. These are horror stories rooted in the Appalachian wild. In the early 1800s, the Bell family settled in Adams, Tennessee. They were God-fearing, hard-working, and utterly unprepared for what would come next. It began with soft knocks at night, then the sound of rats gnawing inside the walls, but the walls were clean. Then came the voice, whispering to the youngest daughter, Betsy, from beneath her bed. And then the scratches, deep, angry marks across her arms every morning. Neighbors came, ministers, skeptics, all left rattled. One man claimed he saw a black mass hovering above Betsy as she slept. John Bell, the father, grew weak. His mouth foamed, his eyes rolled back. Some say the witch poisoned him, and when he died, the voice laughed. For centuries, the Bell farm in Tennessee has whispered its curse through the ancient oaks, where hikers swear they hear a child's giggles dancing on the wind, taunting, unnatural, and cold as the grave. Some wake to find their tents savagely torn, the fabric shredded as if by claws. Yet the ground lies pristine. No footprints, no trace of beast or man, only a suffocating silence that swallows sound itself. A local hunter, his breath stolen by fear, once glimpsed a spectral girl in a tattered white dress gliding between the trees, her eyes hollow as the void. He pursued, heart pounding, but she dissolved into the mist, leaving behind a brittle antique doll with scorched black eyes, half buried in the dirt. Against his better judgment, he kept it, planning to show the townsfolk. That night, his campfire roared with a hellish fury, spitting embers like spiteful stars, and he awoke to a bone-chilling sight. The doll sat upright, its cracked porcelain face turned toward him, fresh scratches weeping red down its cheeks, mirroring the burning marks now etched across his own. Have you ever found something in the woods that didn't belong, like a doll that felt wrong, or heard a giggle where no one should be? Moonville Tunnel sits abandoned, a relic from the railroad days deep in southeastern Ohio. Locals speak of a brakeman, killed instantly in the tunnel when he slipped and was struck by a train. Now, at night, a dim light is seen swaying inside, like a lantern. No one ever sees who's holding it. Teenagers dare each other to walk the tunnel at midnight. Some report hearing footsteps behind them, then nothing. Others say the light suddenly appears in front of them, only to vanish the moment they turn on their phone flashlights. In 2015, a small film crew ventured into Moonville Tunnel to shoot a low-budget documentary. Everything went smoothly, until they reviewed the raw footage. In the background of a slow panning shot, a low, guttural moan emerged. It hadn't been picked up by the boom mic, only the camera's onboard audio. Intrigued and unnerved, they isolated the sound and slowed it down. What they heard next chilled them. A single word, whispered like a warning through clenched teeth: leave. Moments later, the camera battery, which had been fully charged, drained completely, and in one frame, just one, a smeared handprint was visible on the lens. No one remembered touching it. Others who reviewed the footage noted a face, barely visible, peering from behind a wooden beam, where no one had been standing. Would you dare walk Moonville Tunnel at midnight, knowing something might follow you out? Or have you ever caught something strange on camera you couldn't explain? Let us know in the comments. The Cherokee tell of the Iwa, a forest spirit feared for its power. Locals now call it the Wampus Cat, blending ancient lore with modern sightings. It's said to be a woman cursed to prowl the woods as a feline beast. Her cry is not quite a scream, not quite a growl, something in between. In 2007, 2 hunters near Black Mountain heard that sound. They assumed it was a bobcat, until they saw eyes, 5 feet off the ground, staring back at them, not reflecting, glowing. One hunter fired his rifle. The light vanished, so did the creature. But the air was heavy, metallic, and their truck had claw marks down the side. More sightings followed. Farmers found livestock drained of blood. A teacher driving home late said a figure darted across the road. moving on all fours, yet too long-limbed to be a cat. Her windshield cracked on impact, but there was no body, just tufts of fur on the hood. The tufts of fur on her hood were tested by a local vet who said they didn't match any known animal. Days later, the teacher found a claw embedded in her car door, too long to be a cougar's, and a handprint on the glass, with claws. This tale, rooted in Cherokee tradition, reminds us the mountains hold stories older than our own. If the Wampus Cat's glowing eyes are haunting your dreams, hit that like button to ward off the shadows, subscribe to join our eerie Appalachian journey, and tap the bell so no whisper from these mountains escapes you. Keep watching, more horrors await. Elkmont, Tennessee, once buzzed with logging life. Now, its cabins rot in silence. Yet hikers report lights flickering inside them at night. Music drifting faintly. 1920s swing. No source, no speakers, no electricity. In 2010, a couple stayed nearby in a camper. The woman awoke to soft, dancing footsteps outside. Her husband opened the curtain. A woman in a white dress spun slowly under the moonlight. Her feet didn't touch the ground. When rangers checked, they found no prints, but a ring of crushed flowers marked the spot, as if someone had twirled there. Months later, the couple returned. Their camper had been burned. Nothing else in the area touched. Inside, the only thing left intact was a single music box. The music box played a tune no one could identify, and when a historian later analyzed it, the melody matched a song banned in the 1920s for allegedly inciting madness, still playing, still winding itself. What would you do if you heard 1920s music in an abandoned town, or saw someone dancing who wasn't there? Coal towns thrived, then died. One mine outside Harlan County collapsed in 1912. No bodies recovered. The entrances were sealed, but they say the men never left. Miners today won't work near the site. Their drills overheat. Radios fail. Some report hearing tapping beneath their feet. 3 slow knocks. The number of death. In 1999, a foreman overseeing maintenance deep inside one of the old shafts paused when he noticed movement in the shadows. There, across the narrow pit, stood a man in a miner's uniform. Clothes out of time, face pale, eyes sunken. The foreman blinked, and just like that, the man was gone. He brushed it off as stress or poor lighting, but the next morning, his boots, left outside his quarters, were caked in a fine layer of soot. He hadn't been near the coal beds. He tried to clean them, but the soot seemed embedded, like it had seeped into the leather. Later that night, he returned to his quarters and froze. His helmet, once neatly placed on a hook, was now sitting in the center of the room. And next to it, smeared on the dusty floorboards, were tiny fingerprints. Not adult-sized, child-sized, coal dark. Scattered around them were faint scratches etched into the floor, forming what looked like a crude child's drawing. 3 stick figures, one without a face, standing beside a collapsing tunnel. Most tie the Mothman to Point Pleasant, but sightings stretch far beyond. A winged humanoid with glowing eyes, always spotted before disaster, always just watching. In 1978, a teacher driving through the Virginia hills saw a figure standing on a rock ledge, wings extended, eyes burning red. When she blinked, it was gone. She crashed seconds later. Her car was totaled. She survived, barely. Years later, her weathered journal surfaced, its pages trembling with nightmares. Vast, leathery wings looming over her bed, casting shadows that pulsed like a heartbeat. The final entry, scrawled in frantic ink, recounted a dream where the Mothman's voice slithered through the dark, a guttural hiss whispering, "You're next." The journal lay open to that page, a single feather, black, shimmering with an unearthly iridescence, pressed within, as if sealing her fate. She wrote of icy gusts swirling through sealed rooms, of crimson eyes burning through the forest's edge, always watching, always waiting. A chilling earlier note revealed something worse. She'd woken night after night with soil caked on her bare feet, as though she'd wandered in her sleep, drawn relentlessly toward the mountains, toward him. Have you ever had a dream that felt like a warning? or woken up with something out of place like dirt you can't explain? Let us know in the comments. Hidden deep within the Nantahala National Forest is a lake that locals avoid after sundown. There's no name on most maps, but those who live nearby call it Screamer's Hollow. In the 1800s, a woman drowned her child there, and then herself. But some say it wasn't suicide. It was something in the water. In the dead of night, campers by the unnamed lake in Nantahala's shadowed heart swear they hear a woman's sobs, faint at first, like ripples on the water, before erupting into shrieks, raw, blood-chilling wails that claw at the soul. A lone fisherman, his hands trembling, once saw a ghostly figure rise from the lake's glassy surface, its pale arms stretched wide, mouth agape in an endless silent scream that seemed to devour the moonlight. He fled, heart hammering, but his loyal dog lingered, transfixed. 2 days later, it was found, unmarked. Yet its fur was tangled with slimy lake algae, as if dragged through the depths and spat back to shore. Days later, the fisherman froze, staring at his boots. Soaked through, caked with mud. Though he'd never stepped near the water, their leather gleaming with an unnatural sheen under the gaze of the dog's lifeless, wide-eyed stare. The Forest Service lists it as a restricted zone due to unstable soil, but the signs change. Some read, "No trespassing." Others, just one word, painted in red: run. The Appalachian Mountains cradle secrets that never sleep. Giggles in the dark, eyes in the fog, whispers that follow you home. The Bell Witch lingers. The Mothman waits. Have you heard the Bell Witch's giggle in the dark? Drop your story below to share the haunt. If these tales gripped your soul, like to light the shadows, subscribe to join our cursed trail, and hit the bell to catch every chill. Dare to keep walking. The mountains have more to tell.